The Good Ride, sucking less every year for over 10 years. So this is the Good Ride review of the Korua Tranny Finder Plus. Been a long time coming and stoked we got on it. To give you a quick summary, it's just an ultralight tranny finder that has a faster base, so you've got those two positives, but the negative is it bounces and bucks and chatters a lot more than the regular tranny finder. So it's really a toss-up between the two, depending on what's more important to you. So we rode this mainly with Adidas Tactical ADVs, Union Atlas, Union Falcors, Union Stratas. We finished the demo off all with Union Atlas, and for 2 days we rode these in soft kind of powder conditions and then soft groomer conditions and tested them all against each other. In terms of flex, it's got a pretty,
wait, what's this?
Yeah, pretty like medium stiff flex, but more on the medium side. When you compare that to the regular tranny, yeah, this is definitely stiffer. As far as butterability, both can butter off the tail pretty well, but this butter's better. This is just better all around for buttering. This has a little more pop, a little more liveliness underfoot in terms of like flex and board personality in terms of that. Now, in terms of camber profile and how it works with the snow, the on-snow feel, both are very similar. All these Korua boards have that more technical rider in mind who understands what full camber's like, because this is almost full camber. You're only looking, like, check the on the table review, you're only looking at a little bit of early rise, like maybe this much, and there's a lot of camber from, you know, a little past the binding all the way to the tail. So this is not for like even a strong intermediate really, unless you're willing to, you know, maybe take some pretty hard spills, because this edge will catch. In terms of sizing, last year when we rode the 57 tranny finder, it was a little stiffer than torsionally, kind of everything, than the tranny finder we got now, and we preferred the 54 last year. This year we feel like the 57's just the right size.
Perfect.
Yeah, at both of these. So sizing wise, and Grant's a 10.5, 11 in snowboard boots.
Yep.
And I'm a 9. This fit us both really well. It worked well with me, and I didn't feel like it was too slow turning wise. It felt like it was pretty quick, and I could handle this board. I felt like it was right for me. And then Grant, you felt the same, like it didn't have toe drag, right?
Not at all. And
yeah,
in the last few runs on this sort of changed my total opinion on it. I had a great time on this board, but yeah, I mean, the width of this board is perfect for me. I think I could even, the same width last year on the tranny finder. I had a size 11 SLX, which is a lot bigger than this boot, and it was totally fine on this.
Yeah, look at all the extra room you have boot wise, you know.
And these are size medium bindings.
And for edge hold, I felt like this had good grip. All these Korua boards, like,
amazing.
I felt like the edge hold was a little smoother at speed with the tranny finder. I felt like, you know, because this is so light and poppy, it also means it's bucky, you know, it just bounces around and really just doesn't handle uneven snow well. So when you were trying to lay out a hard turn or hold your edge in uneven snow, I felt like it bounced out a little more and lost its edge a little easier than this, but still it's very close. And turn initiation, dude, pretty fast, huh?
Great, yeah, it's great.
Pretty quick. I mean, the dart I felt was a little faster.
Yep.
The stealth I felt just a shade slower. Funny enough, the pencil felt like it was right there. The 64 felt like, turn initiation wise, yeah, maybe it's a touch slower, but much closer to these two tranny finders. And because this is light and poppy, it almost feels like, you know, it's so ultralight, it almost felt like it was a faster turner than the tranny finder. But that just might, I think that's the weight, because everything else is the specs. It has that sensation of maybe turning a little faster, because it's just so easy to make it do what it does. I think it's probably the fastest turning of all these, but that dart's pretty fast.
Dart is really fast, yeah.
Really fast. And it's so surprising how fast these are for how wide the waist is. It's like almost a 27 centimeter waist, and how big the nose is, but you've got that, you know, like over 3 centimeters of taper, so that tail really comes into play. So like a size 9 boot guy, you know, with similar weight like me, can really turn this well, and that kind of blew my mind. You know, these boards just don't do what the specs say, and that's really cool. The turning experience and carving, I would say, you know, the tranny finder, there's a lot of ways to turn a board, and I would say this tranny finder definitely leans more towards the posi rider. But if you want to like get a little bit duck or go zero and kind of wait on the back foot and carve out, you can make that happen with this. But I think it prefers just a little bit. It can work both ways, and I like that.
Yeah.
But I think it prefers a little more like positive stance, really driving harder off the front foot, and I feel that's where this board like does better. But last year when we were riding this, and I rode this year a little bit off, like ducked out and off the back foot, you could lean back on your back leg, weight it hard, and carve and turn that way. But this is an amazing turner, especially if you know how to turn. This just lights up. Of all the boards though, personally, I had more fun on the other boards than the tranny finders turning, but these are still really amazing, and that's just my personal preference. You know, like for example, if you compare this to the Dart can ride a little bit off the back foot, but really loves when you bring it positive and really just comes alive. And then even about the same or better on groomers, depending on your mood, the pencil. The tranny finder and the tranny finder plus are kind of the same. I would say the Stealth though, if you're a back foot carver, if you really like to weigh it on your back foot and you're maybe not riding as positive on the back foot, maybe 0 to a little bit out, you're gonna like the Stealth a lot better. And let's face it, most people are used to doing that as opposed to driving off your front foot. So if you're a back foot weighted guy, it's the Stealth. Or if you're not sure, if you're kind of experimental, you're open to trying new things, then the tranny finder and the Dart. The pencil seems to really shine the most front foot drivey carves. And so that's kind of how it works. Carving, this thing just springs out of a turn. I liked carving better on the tranny finder because that one just seems to have like more weight and more power, where this could often buck me out of the turn a little bit if I just hit a little chatter.
As long as it was smooth, if you hit some uneven stuff, it would definitely didn't have the edge hold as the normal tranny finder, and that, you know, could be due to the weight of the board itself. And
yeah, as far as speed goes, this can become a chattery mess at really high speeds and slightly uneven terrain, but the base is faster. When we compared it to some other boards like Jones's high-end bases, they had a little more glide waxed than this waxed, and we waxed this, but it was close, and it's definitely on the upper tier of things. It's like, you know, an 8.5, 9 out of 10, where like some of those Jones bases and like some of those Gentim stick bases that are just like, those are like 10s. If you're talking about speed, about like getting down a long cat track or getting out of a powder area and you've got to make it out to get out of this like thick area so you don't have to walk out,
this is the winner.
I'd be on this. But if you want to bomb and you want dampness and you want like a chatter-free bomber, that's the one. So it's kind of evens out. I would say overall though, this doesn't have the speed that this does. This just has a faster base.
Right.
It doesn't have the dampness. And that's a problem with all ultralight boards. You're always sacrificing something to have that light weight, that poppy dynamic feel underfoot. Uneven terrain, yeah, it's hard to power over shit with this. You know, it does this a lot, you know? You know, where this one, it just absorbs so much better, you know, like I don't know if you can kind of tell.
I mean, this thing is light. The rebound on this is probably from the carbon, but you know, anytime you flex this, the rebound is pretty exceptional. I mean, you're gonna get bucked around some.
Switch It's actually okay switch. It's got some tail. But it's really different, you know? But you can land switch on this, and this does the best, other than the auto. There's nothing better. I wish we had the auto in this comparison, because if you're really thinking jumps, before the auto came into the Korua line, this was like the best all-rounder for, like, if you want to hit the park, if you want to hit jumps, you want to hit pipe, you want to carve, you want to favor directional, but you occasionally want to ride switch, this is the one. Now I think the auto is a little more of that, because it's a double ender, it doesn't have all this taper, much better switch, but very doable. Check out the drunken review of Peter and I talking about this in powder. Of all these boards, I like the tranny finders the least. Now, is that bad? No, because all these boards are amazing in powder. They're
great. They're
amazing. It's all tiers of excellence. But I would say of these three, they have the most tail. They still floated. We got some deep powder in all these boards, sometimes up to our tits, and maybe even higher. And
higher than tits?
Tits high. And you know, it's been a great season for everybody. It's just been glorious. These floated the least, but the one thing is though, getting that base, man. That faster base makes such a difference, because nobody has a perfect line down to the chair. That rarely happens. Usually what you're doing is you're traversing. You're going down a line, then you have to kind of traverse back because you're riding off piste. You're not, you know, you're not funneling right back.
Gotta get back to the chair as fast as possible.
Yeah, this kept its speed much faster than all the other boards here. And I feel like that's a real advantage in powder. That might push you this way. But tell you the truth, I'd rather be on the Pencil Plus.
In powder, I'd rather be on the Pencil or Pencil Plus. But this thing, if you haven't ridden, you know, dozens of powder boards to compare it to, and you bought this and set it back, I think that you'd think it was the best powder board you've ever been on. This thing's amazing.
Totally.
Yeah. And the construction of these boards is like some of the best in the industry. Like, I personally think that the construction of Korua shapes is
it's top notch.
It's one of the best.
Overall, I think it's a really fun board. I think it's got a lot of tail for landings. Yeah, you got that vinyl. You know, you look like a vinyl collector. You know, it looks like the get down, like you're handing that crayon saying, figure out what this is for.